So I've been studying this long enough to know when the rhetoric isn't matching the evidence. You can call it politics. You can call it economics. You can call it upheaval, social unrest, or you can just call it another day of bad news. But I've seen this before, and you have too. But if we're honest, if we're really honest, that doesn't explain the frenzy. Because what we're watching doesn't just look like disagreement. It looks like demonic possession. Or at least demonic possession adjacent behavior at scale. So Paul said something in Ephesians 6 that most people read and then they kind of politely ignore. He said, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities, and powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places." Now, maybe that's just metaphor. Sure. Perhaps. Or maybe that's diagnostic language. Because when I see Minneapolis, when I see Los Angeles, when I see Portland and other places like this, when I see Chaz and Chop zones, when I see ordinary people smiling as they burn down cities that they live in, when they burn their own communities to the ground, and they do it while grinning from ear to ear, I'm looking at something totally different. I don't see anger. I see a complete loss of restraint. I see crowd frenzy, crowd ecstasy. I see moral inversion. I see destruction being called justice and chaos being baptized as virtue. And here's my working theory, okay? Key word, theory. You know, we often relate America, the downfall of America, to the downfall of the Roman Empire. But my question is what if America was actually a lot more like Rome than we had originally thought? We always just say it kind of in the metaphorical sense. What if there were certain ancient powers that never left the building? What if they just dressed modern, spoke progressive, and moved seamlessly in and out of algorithms instead of temples? What if the same traits that we see in ancient accounts, the frenzy, the intoxication, right? The identity, communal rage, ritualized violence. What if those are the same traits that are manifesting now? Only now they're just scaled up, digitized, broadcast in HD. And for clarity, I'm not saying that every rioter is possessed. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's a pattern here that is familiar. Infestation through constant inputs. Oppression through pressure and exhaustion. Obsession through identity capture. Finally, the last stage. Possession. Complete and total loss of restraint. Is it possible? You see, the ladder of depravity hasn't changed in thousands of years. Only the delivery mechanism has. So we're not drawing conclusions that we simply can't defend. Okay? We're just examining the evidence from a bird's eye view and making the obvious comparisons. And you decide. Because if Paul was right, and I understand that that's a big if for some people. I understand that. But if Paul was right, then it would not only be irresponsible not to look at the spiritual aspect and dynamic of this, it would be completely negligible. It deserves our attention. Again, this might just be a theory, but it's a dangerous one. So come along with me and help me unmask the God of the riot. As always, guys, welcome back to the Brass Knuckles Bible Club. If you haven't already done so, make sure you go down and you smash that like button. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Just remember, we are available on video and audio platforms. You know, we're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, we're on Spreaker, we're on Spotify, we're on a whole host of other ones. But I am just going to let you know for this episode, if you're not watching the video, this episode isn't really going to make a whole lot of sense. We're going to be going over a lot of video clips, you know, from everything from YouTube, X, TikTok, you know. And so, like, you're really just not – there's also going to be visual aids. There's going to be graphs and stuff. So there's things that you're just not going to understand. You're just not going to get if you are not watching – the video. And like I said, hey, listen, on TikTok, I don't know what it is. On TikTok, there's 90,000+ of you guys. YouTube, there's like not even 300. So if you like this stuff, which most of you on TikTok have shown that you like, take 2 seconds to go over to YouTube, Brass Knuckles Bible Club, hit subscribe so that way you don't miss this stuff. So what exactly is demonic possession? Well, I can tell you that it's more than just levitating, spinning heads, and growling at people in Latin, okay? It's occultic. And just like the word occult, meaning hidden, okay, a lot of it's hidden, I believe. And what is the best place to hide, if not in plain sight? I believe that we see a lot more demonic possession that we are even keenly aware of. For example, I could get off into the rabbit hole of paranoid schizophrenia, but that is an entirely different venture, flying off into the woods, and that's going to be a completely different episode in and of itself. Okay? But demonic possession is a hostile takeover of the will. It's slow. It's deliberate. It's methodical. And oftentimes, it's welcomed. It usually begins whenever someone opens a spiritual door through sin, through pride, through obsession, through ritual, and most times through deception. Now, again, this isn't once. This is habitual. Every open door is an invitation, and every repeated lie is a signature. Demonic possession occurs whenever an unclean spirit is no longer enacting you from the outside, but is operating from within you on the inside. They're overriding your conscience. They're reshaping your desire, but always, 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 they are always steering your behavior toward destruction. And oftentimes, they're convincing the host that they're being liberated, that they're being freed. You see, the demon doesn't erase your identity. It replaces it and then it amplifies the worst already pre-existing parts of you. Rage becomes identity. Lust becomes entitlement. Nihilism becomes wisdom. And chaos becomes a crusade. You see, the possessed person thinks that they're choosing. And that's the trick. You see, true possession is not marked by B-rate horror flick theatrics. It's marked by a complete and utter loss of control and loss of restraint. The loss of self-control, inversion of moral clarity, the hatred of the truth, the mockery of faith and repentance, a violent resistance, and although sometimes subtle, but sometimes explosive resistance to the name and the authority of Jesus Christ. Now this is very obviously demonic possession. I also think it's hilarious. The guy tries to steal the Eucharist and he gets blown back. We have seen this time and time and time again. Possession is when the lie no longer whispers, but it speaks through your own voice. You see, the demon doesn't have to make the host evil. All that it has to do is convince them that they're right. And the final tell? Well, the possessed doesn't say, there's something wrong with me. What it says is, everyone else is blind. Every riot has a spark. But even that doesn't explain the smile on a man's face when he watches his own city burn. So, all I did was follow the laughter, and it led me to a name that is older than smoke. Dionysus. Or Bacchus. You see, Dionysus wasn't a god of war. He wasn't a god of order. He was a god of intoxication, frenzy, and release. He was the god of wine, sex, and ecstasy. But these weren't just orgies. His crowds would lose themselves until they had absolutely no more accountability anymore. As a god, he didn't command armies. He dissolved them. He consumed them from the inside out. You see, Dionysus is a ritualized loss of restraint. He's not rebellion without a cause, but rebellion as a high. He doesn't say overthrow the system. He says just feel something, anything, and burn it all down if you have to. And when the morning comes and the smoke settles, everyone's standing around looking at each other and no one realizes who even struck the match. And better yet, no one cares. You see, Dionysus shows up early, Bronze Age early, about 1400 years before Christ. While Moses was pulling slaves out of Egypt, Dionysus was being worshipped through drunken rites, blood frenzy, and crowds whipped up into sacred madness. This is a tale of two gospels. One gospel leads people across the sea, and the other one leads them into it. Where does he appear? Thrace, Greece, Rome, Asia Minor, essentially anywhere with a civilization that was standing long enough for the people to grow tired of its borders and its walls and its structure and its order. He was in the festivals. He was in the theaters. He was in the streets at night whenever the rules felt optional. You know, the funny thing about cities is they're always one drink away from chaos. So why Dionysus? Why not Ares? Why not any of these other gods and goddesses? Well, I'll tell you why. Because he solves the oldest problem in hell. How do you get people to destroy themselves and call it freedom? See, it's a lot easier than most mainstream religions would have had you believe. You don't need theology. You don't need policy. You just need permission. Permission to rage. Permission to indulge. Permission to disappear into the crowd so that no one has to answer for what they do. You see, order demands repentance, but frenzy demands applause. The masks, the drums, the chanting, the laughter and the flames. This isn't political. This is liturgy. And every single riot is a sacrament if Dionysus is the god you serve, whether you're aware of it or not. They call it protest, they call it progress, they call it justice. But I've seen this god before, and every time he shows up, the city burns. And the people, they swear they'd never been more alive.
It's raging time.
Dude, what does she have on her face? Hold up. Whoa. Hold on. What is that? That better be paint. I don't know, because some of you guys, you're nasty.
Rage has been demonized and villainized, especially in the feminine. But our sacred rage is what has incited.
Sacred rage. You hearing this? I'm not crazy. It's right here.
Created so many movements, created so much change on our planet. It is imperative that we allow ourselves safe spaces to release this fiery, hot emotion from within us so that it can no longer poison or toxify our internal emotional reality. Even though a volcano can be destructive in its eruption, ultimately that is also what creates paradise.
Hold on. What was that?
Volcano can be destructive in its eruption. Ultimately, that is also what.
That looks like half of a real wing of a bird. I hope that was a mount. Or maybe that was alive at some point. I don't know. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe their conservative boyfriend's a hunter.
What creates paradise? We have to give ourselves permission to fully emote, to release that which has remained stuck and suppressed inside of ourselves in order to be
What's with the dirt? What?
free. Hi, I'm Nia Magic. Something I have
Nia Magic.
become very notorious for, and that my retreats are highly coveted in order to experience, is rage rituals.
Are we ready for some rage?
Did you catch that?
I have become very notorious for, and that my retreats are highly coveted in order to experience, is rage rituals.
This is liturgy. You understand that? You see, his name is Dionysus in the Greek, Bacchus in the Roman. He was the god of wine and chaos. He was the god of ecstasy. He was the god of the mask. That's actually one of his nicknames, the god of the mask. Dionysus is the god of, I don't remember doing that. Why does this matter? Isn't evil just evil? Well, I think it's important to actually know your enemy. And I believe this enemy actually has a name. He has a few names. Dionysus, Bacchus, the god of the mask. Well, very quickly, he's becoming the god of the riot. You know, and there's also something very peculiar about Dionysus as well. Now, even though the Bible doesn't explicitly say so, at least the canonical Bible, if you look in the book of First Enoch, there's an idea that demons are actually the souls of disembodied Nephilim. If you don't know who the Nephilim were, they were the giants, the men of renown, the heroes of old, as it explicitly talks about in Genesis 6. Here's the ironic thing about Dionysus. Dionysus was born of a male deity and a female mortal. Genesis 6, 1 and 2. Now it came to pass that when man began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, and that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and that they were beautiful, and they took for them wives for themselves of all whom they chose. Dionysus, born of death, gestated in godhood, half in this world, half out of it. Is this ringing any bells? Genesis 6:4. And there were giants in the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. They were the mighty men of old, the men of renown. They were the Nephilim. You see, this is what makes him dangerous. He lives in the thresholds. And in the thresholds, that's where order breaks. So the Bacchae, or the Maenads, as they were called in the Greek, were Dionysus' most devoted followers. And ironically, they were all female. That's right. Dionysus is a cosmic pimp. The Maenads, coming from the Greek menomai, all right, to rage. So do you guys remember this back in the day? Back in 2018, there was this thing, it was called Scream Helplessly at the Sky. Eventually, apparently people were very upset that Donald Trump was still the president. And so this was an actual event that they put together where all of these people just got together and screamed helplessly at the sky. Now, again, I get having to scream into the pillow. Yo, does nobody here have a gym membership? Like, for real. For real. Like, a one-person membership at the YMCA is like $30. Dude, you can go to Planet Fistus, $10. $10. Nobody here's got $10. But they all got their iPhones out, and everybody can be out here screaming helplessly at the sky because Donald Trump, after he had already been in office. And again, I understand that this is cathartic for people, but, you know, do it in a constructive way. Also, other people who were part of the Maenads were also feminized men. But the females were the ones who ruled the root. Here's what they did. They left the cities. They abandoned domestic roles. They trashed gender norms. They entered the mountains at night, where they wore fawn skins. They carried the thyrsus, which is essentially an ivy-wrapped staff, and they moved in synchronized frenzy. You see, they weren't protesting. They were dissolving. So there were a few different sacred rites, night rites as they were called, that got so out of hand, they were actually banned by the Roman government. One specific rite, called sparagmos, literally means tearing apart. And as you could guess, that's not metaphorical, okay? That's not hyperbole. That is literal physical dismemberment. You see, in Dionysian mythology, sparagmos was the seal. It was the final step. You were solidified. Once you completed sparagmos, That was the final level of frenzy. And it induced what he called mania.
Are we ready for some rage?
Oh, we're fucking ready. If you're gonna work with me, you know you're getting yourself into some like pretty wild shit. You're gonna need big sticks. Most women have been shamed for their anger. It's been something that they have been punished for or never allowed to show. This is all
And they got deer heads hanging on the wall, right? These are supposedly the ones that are, you know, do not harm any animals. Look at that. I told you. Their conservative boyfriends is a hunter. I haven't watched this, by the way. Give me a break. This is so, like, faux outrage.
about creating a safe space for people to truly experience the emotion that has been so shamed and so suppressed within us. Whether we have been verbally, physically, or sexually abused, so many women have never had the opportunity to stand up to those who have perpetrated violence or any kind of disrespect against themselves. And this is a place where we get to go full out without any holds barred, without any limitation, without any feeling of restriction.
Starting in, feeling into what makes me angry.
It's all about feeling. Understand that. There's nothing rational going on here. Just so we know that. This is all about feeling. And, you know, listen, to some degree, I get it. I get it. I'm not a complete prude. I'm not just going to tell you, hey, just read your Bible, drink a warm glass of milk, and punch yourself in the face. Okay? Like, I understand that there's sometimes you got to go to the gym and you got to hit the bag. I get it. But I guarantee you this lady is charging an exorbitant amount of money to go get sticks in the woods, okay? To go get sticks in the woods and smash them on the ground and scream. That's it. This lady has got to wake up laughing. I guarantee you these women are paying through the nose for stuff like this. I guarantee it.
Who has made me angry? Who has hurt me? Who has broken me? Who has cut me down?
You know, and again, like I said, you know, I get it. You know, like a teenage girl, you got to scream in the pillow. I get it. I understand. Rage ritual? There's a healthy level of I got to scream in the pillow. There's a healthy level of I got to go to the gym. I got to throw up some weight. Or I got to hit the bag. And then there's what we're about to watch here.
Guess what? You're still fucking here. Right now I feel angry. Right now I feel frustrated. Everything, whatever you're feeling, let it out. Express yourself. Let yourself feel. Be heard. Start shaking and moving.
Could you imagine being this lady's boyfriend?
Right now I feel. What do you feel?
Look, I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm not. Okay. I understand. I can't say it enough. I get it. I understand you got to scream in the pillow. I understand you got to throw up some weight. I understand I got to go and I got to hit the bag. I get it. But that's normal. This is not. I feel sad. Well, you don't sound like you feel sad. Don't ever cheat on this girl. Ever. Because that's going to be your F-250. Right underneath her baseball bat.
Look at you now.
This is mania. This is self-induced mania. They're going in dry, dude. Like they didn't even prime the engine. So, like bone dry. They didn't even drink alcohol. I guarantee you this is like 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. Sober. You're doing this sober. Not that this is any better doing this drunk. If you're like this sober, I don't want to be around you when you're drinking. Period. So here's my other issue with this. This is mental conditioning. Okay? This might just be a really weird exercise that really bored rich women, okay, go to do. They go to pay $6,000 to go meet up with some chick in the woods that smells like weed and patchouli to smack sticks on the ground and scream at 9 o'clock. Well, again, her conservative boyfriend is on the other side of the property getting pissed off because they're scaring away everything. He's sitting up in the deer stand and they're scaring everything away. Okay, maybe that just might be what this is. But the thing is that this is mental conditioning. Okay, this is brainwashing. This is self-induced mania. That girl's so lazy. She must not be very mad about any much. Like, dude, she is totally sandbagging it. You know she's got a good life.
Every time you ever settled for less, every time you felt unworthy or too much, not enough.
I got a really good friend. Really good friend of mine. And unfortunately, I think these women are right up his alley. Because all he likes is crazy people. And this chick, oh, they're a match made in heaven. What? Hold on. Sandbagging it. See, like, man, you know, she woke up, she had a mocha frappe this morning. She had her favorite tunes on. This lady ain't worried about nothing right here. She's only here because her stupid friend brought her, I guarantee you.
Every time you ever settled for less, every time you felt unworthy or too much, not enough.
Shut up. Hey. Shut up.
You ain't special.
That would make me more mad than anything. Stop talking. I'm trying to be nuts over here. Leave me alone. Yeah, like I don't like your face. I don't like you looking at me like that. Who are you yelling at? What do you think? You're my drill instructor? Shut up, lady. That, I'm telling you, that right there. That lady. Yikes. Tell you what, man, these activists.
Another activist, McGuire.
Activist. Yes.
Look at her. She loves this. You see this? Fellas. Look, dude. If you don't have a girlfriend right now, don't worry about it. You see this? You see that up there? Does that look normal to you? Go to church. Fellas, go to church. Find you a good girl. Because this right here, yeah, this is the dating apps. Stay off the dating apps. She's getting off on this. It's ecstatic. This is mania. I don't know what's up with this lady over here holding herself. I didn't see this lady the whole time. Was she in the bathroom the whole time?
Really special.
Dude, I don't like that. What's with the bird wing? That's a whole wing. And what? Sage and pot? Guys, this is witchcraft. You understand? This is liturgy. This is mania. This is ritual. This is not normal.
There's nothing like having this safe space and creating this incredibly intentional ceremony in sisterhood side by side so that we can create conscious, positive change together, hand in hand.
I get so much joy out of watching that.
I don't like that. Do you like that? Listen to the way she laughs, dude. I'm not making this up. She said it. Dude.
Positive change together, hand in hand.
I get so much joy out of watching that. So much joy. Because it's freedom and
It's freedom.
truth, and it's real, and it's raw, and it's fucking primal. It takes a lot. It's not easy. It's hard to do that practice a lot.
No, it isn't.
Really special.
It is not hard to completely lose control.
Oh, the anger sharks are swimming in my head.
It's not hard. At least do it in a constructive way. Dude, if you're going to do that, if you're going to go nuts, at least go nuts in the gym. Get jacked. Not whatever this is.
A lot of people can't. So really honor your courage. It takes
Yeah, because a lot of people don't have $6,000 to go pay some Yahoo to go scream and smack sticks in the forest on a Tuesday. We got to go to work.
a fuck load of courage to do that practice.
I think like I dropped in for the first time to my real scream and like my real anger. I just think it was like the healthiest thing I've ever done for myself.
That was so beautiful.
That was so beautiful.
Having permission to go there and to speak.
Permission. Permission. When I'm emphasizing these words, make sure you're understanding and you're hearing these key words that I'm saying.
Did you hear what I said?
Permission.
Speak those words and to feel that fucking rage. Thank you so much.
Knowing that pain is there, like I feel like I let that out, and that rage within me being like, why is this happening to me? And just knowing that I'm still connected to the earth and the earth hears me and responds, that's all I need. And in safe spaces like this.
I have found this practice to be one of the most transformative.
Could we be any more on the nose here? Oh, these activists, man.
Activists, yes.
The jokes write themselves.
One of the most alchemical and one of the most permissive to give us the full experience of liberation.
Hey, guys. What do you think of the headdress? Looks a little bit like Ishtar. Does it not?
That's against the law, and you're gonna have to go to jail.
Unfortunately, there's no law against that. Not in man's law. God's law, though. Okay?
So that everything that's been stuck, that's been held back, that's been suppressed, every word we've never spoken, every time we've ever been shut up or shut down, silenced or suppressed.
Look at these headdresses. Look at these crowns.
We have an opportunity to give ourselves the healing and the acknowledgement that our inner children or that wounded part of us so deeply desire and truly need in order
You're a wizard, Harry.
Really special.
to move forward, in order to transform. These experiences are one of my greatest honors and pleasures to lead. If you are interested in joining me for a retreat, please click the link below. We have 2 incredible experiences and opportunities where you can come and do this rage ritual with me in conscious community and experience the safe space to be able to say anything you've never said, to do the things perhaps you've never done, to
do the things you've never done. Listen, guys, and while this is all going on, the drums build, the chants synchronize, an identity dissolves, and then something crosses a line. In Euripides' Bacchae, King Pentheus resists the cult. He spies on the right and he mocks the god. And then the Maenads find him. And then they tear him apart, like a chicken in the mouth of a crazed coyote. His own mother participates, and she doesn't even recognize him. And that's the point. One of the final tests of sparagmos is to kill a living animal in brutal fashion, to rip it apart, limb from limb, shrieking. You see, this is the moment that the future serial killer realizes that they've gone too far. Just a kid in the woods twisting the heads off of hamsters. This is the point of no return. The ecstasy and the release whenever the body stops twitching. To them, it's orgasmic. This is sparagmos. This is the moment where rage becomes sacred. Destruction becomes ritual. Dissent becomes blasphemy. Look at this. Look at how many people there are. This is synchronized. This isn't just random chaos for chaos' sake. And they're just letting it happen. They are completely overrun. They're like ants on a pile of sugar. And they're blocking them in. This is insane. How anybody could let this happen. This is insane. This has got Dionysus written all over it. And you strip away the myth and the language, and what do you get? Dissolving the individual into a collective, emotional contagion, moral disengagement, group radicalization. When the individual dissolves into the collective, responsibility and accountability dissolve with them. Once blood is on the hands, there's no going back to polite discourse. Now you have to defend what you've done. So the movement hardens. It escalates. You see, Sparagmos isn't just about sex and goats and ivy wreaths. Sparagmos is whenever emotion outruns reason and frenzy outruns restraint, and the crowd determines that it is morally invincible. You see, you don't need mountains or torches anymore. You just need enough synchronized conviction, an unholy crusade. Right up until the moment of Sparagmos, wine was consumed rapidly to induce mania. There was loud drumming, chanting, high-pitched flutes, and screaming, all of which was meant to induce rage. Once a Maenad achieved mania, they had a saying, "The god has entered her." Now, granted, in this specific scenario, if you didn't know what this is, a bunch of protesters. They were outside of the hotel of where they thought ICE agents were staying at. And they're out here banging drums. But here's the weird thing about it. Banging drums, chanting. Back in the day, they were playing high-pitched flutes. In this case, they're whistles. Just listen to this. ICE, what's that say? Off. ICE kills. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Walking Dead. This reminds me of the Walking Dead whenever, at the beginning, whenever Rick is like he wakes up in the hospital and he's like walking through and he's like trying to find a way out. And there's like the two locked doors and it says, don't open, dead inside. But if you read it, it looks like don't dead, open inside. Oh, man. Sorry. I just had to point that out. This is all meant to get you psyched up. This is all meant to induce mania. This isn't just to be annoying. You think you don't get a thrill out of this? Absolutely. You know how I know? I got toddlers. They're never having more fun than whenever they're running around and screaming. Ask any parent. This is fun. And they're getting a chemical cocktail from this. They're 100% getting a chemical cocktail from this. If they haven't already done anything before this. Every single one of them is wearing a mask. Now, granted, it's also cold. I understand that too. But why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Anonymity. They want to remain faceless. They want to be anonymous because they don't want to be responsible for anything that they're doing. Now, again, they could just be teenagers that are caught up in the moment, sure. But as we're going to see, there's definitely some outliers here that might have something a little bit more spiritual going on here. Why are they so mad at this trash can right here? Dude, I don't get it. Move on. They are just like, everybody wants a piece of this trash can right here.
Come on, Cleveland. Come on.
All right. You know, just like I've said in times before, does any of this look safe? You know, this is how you know this isn't in Florida. Number one, the snow. But no, dude, they'll turn you into road pizza here. Do not try to pull this stuff here. This poor trash can. Dude, I don't know why everybody is so mad at this one trash can here. Does this look like normal behavior? If I were to guess, I would say this gentleman, probably on SSRIs. Or lady, whatever they are. That's another hard part about this. Everybody looks so androgynous, you can't tell who's male and who's female, which is another calling card of the maenads. These are modern day maenads. This one girl is just staring off into the void. Yeah, he knew that wasn't a good idea. He could tell how unstable it was. I'm sorry, Mr. Trash Can. Yeah, no, dude. You're getting out of the way. You hear me? You're getting out of my way. That's all I'm going to say about that. The intoxication, the sex, the rage, that was all Dionysus operating in her and through her. You see, most liberals would just say, well, I just felt free. Or here's my favorite. It's just art, right? But what does that actually sound like? What does it actually look like? It looks like demonic possession. Remember, demons only operate with 3 goals in mind: to steal, to kill, and destroy. That's it. And all of that was quite literally taking place all throughout ancient Greece and Rome. So much so, in fact, that as I was saying before, these rites, these rituals, these festivals, they were outlawed. As annoying as these horns are, this is on purpose. This is on purpose. This isn't just to be annoying. I don't know. What do you even do? Like, this is not a plan here. Anyway, these people were banished due to the destruction that would ensue in civilized society. They did not want this crap in their cities. And I am of the belief that we are witnessing this stuff again today. In Minneapolis, in Los Angeles, in Portland. And this is the same type of spirit, only now the mask is either all black or black and red. But nobody wakes up possessed. Just like nobody wakes up destroying businesses and attacking police officers. There's a metamorphosis. There's a descent. There's a twisting and a capturing of the entire self, the mind, the body, and the spirit. A total consummation. You are consumed. And here's how I think that happens. But each one is tempted when he is carried away and enticed by his own lust. Then, when lust is conceived, it gives birth to sin. And when sin is accomplished, it brings forth death. Temptation is moral solicitation. It's not force. It's not compulsion. It's invitation. That is the spiritual window, which is the opening to the entire rest of the mind and body. So I'm going to explain this, okay? And typically, don't usually use psychology here, but I'm just going to illustrate my point here. I'm going to make a 3-pronged point for every stage. We're going to go over the mental, we're going to go over the physical, and we're going to go over the spiritual, just as I just showed you. And this is the first level, infestation. I already gave you the spiritual scriptural warning here. I'm going to be pulling from the APA Dictionary of Psychology. So mentally at this stage, there's a few things that are happening here. Psychologically, you're being primed. The APA Dictionary definition of priming is the activation of certain associations, thus predisposing one to perceive, remember, and respond to stimuli in a particular way. Essentially, it's conditioning. Repeated exposure to outrage narratives, they preload your perceptions, and they give way to hostile attribution bias. Hostile attribution bias is the tendency to interpret ambiguous or kind of vague or unclear actions as hostile. Basically, if you don't understand it, it's an enemy. This becomes a big problem when other people are either too lazy or too stupid to think critically, or they're just unable to do so, which is where I think this is actually going. Physically, at the stage of infestation, physically, your sympathetic nervous system activates. Your adrenaline flows, your cortisol elevates, your heart rate increases, your amygdala sensitivity heightens. Your amygdala is like your brain's internal policeman. It tells you when you're in danger, when you should stop doing things, okay? Risk and reward. Your body begins rehearsing combat before you're even in a fight. All right, you guys are familiar with this scene. I've covered this one in a couple episodes back. I forget exactly where they were, but Border Patrol was in ICE. They were doing an operation, and they were slow rolling. They were looking for somebody. And these people, they just wanted to follow them. I don't know who came up with this idea of following federal agents. But what you're seeing right here is it's not just a bunch of bored teenagers that are just following ICE and Border Patrol. Okay? This is actually very well organized. This is low-level insurgency. I said in a couple of episodes back, I was talking about the salute report. And what I was, I was in the infantry in the Marine Corps during a time of war. And one of the reports that we used to use, it was called a salute report. It was size, activity, location, uniform, time, and equipment. Sometimes it was salute S or salutes, and the S down at the very end was for support. Okay. These people have made their own de facto dispatch. They have their own database where they're looking up in real time people's plates. Now, I don't know if they have the same access that normal cops have to, like, let's say, and again, a case in a Florida case like FCIC, NCIC, okay, or David or anything like that. But these people have an ability, whatever it is that they're using, they have an ability they're like fusing a paramilitary way of calling these things out, talking onto the radio, and at the same time, they're using law enforcement tactics. Okay? At least a de facto dispatch. Like, this is actually kind of spooky stuff. This isn't like somebody broke bad. I said that a couple episodes back. Somebody broke bad, whether law enforcement or military or whoever. Somebody gave them this information on how to do this. But regardless, look at the people. They're useful idiots. They're useful idiots. Does this guy right here, does he look like a soldier? Not him. That guy. Not the Border Patrol guy. The other guy. Harry Potter over here. Does he look like a soldier? Does he look like a fighter? Like, what is he really going to do? Unless he had a gun, what is he really going to do?
Get off the street! You could leave! You could leave and you know it! There's nothing here! You could leave! You want tear gas! You want escalation!
And then you got guys like this running in front of their car.
Hey! Why don't you just go? Why don't you just go? There's nothing here!
Like, dude, come on. This guy right here off to the right. Does he look like he can fight? Now look at the Border Patrol to his left. You know how he's looking at him? He's looking at him exactly like this. I wish you would. That's exactly how he's looking at him. But it doesn't matter. These people are not thinking clearly. They're not thinking rationally. This is all base level. This is all base level. This is all rage. This is all reaction. This is all feeling. That's all this is.
It's an empty road. Why don't you go? Do you just want tear gas? Do you just want the escalation? Why don't you go? Answer me. Why don't...
Now, again, they also say that it's for other reasons. The whistles, they're saying that it's to alert people that ICE is in the area. I just think that it's very funny that the main ads were using very high-pitched flutes. And now it's whistles, which is essentially the same thing.
You go!
Stay back. Stay back.
Yep. And what do you know? And then you get yourself into trouble.
Get back. Get back now. I'm in the gas. Get back. Gas is coming.
Gas on
Gas is
Bill!
coming.
Gas on
Second
Bill!
warning.
We're filling you! Gas on
warning.
Bill, Savino!
Third warning.
Gas on Bill!
Gas.
Piece of shit! You just got
Get back.
Like, look at this chick right here. He's trying to push this little hobbit back. Like, these people are useful idiots. They're puppets. Do you guys understand that you're being controlled? You understand that, correct? You're being duped. And you're the one who's going to have to take the fall. You're the one who's going to have to sit in a cell. You're the one who's going to pay the price. But this is what I'm talking about. At this point, once you've reached this point, there's no polite discourse. Nothing is getting through, clearly. How is this achieved? In my opinion, algorithmic-driven outrage loops, selectively edited viral clips, doom scrolling, influencer rhetoric, mimicry.
Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my God, guns.
See? This is what this does. Okay, you get people all hyped up and all. Now, granted, I think the first lady, probably the one that had them all smacking the road with sticks, I think she could get people whipped up into a frenzy probably a lot better than Madonna could. Madonna, I mean, like, she was talking and people were falling asleep. And these were people that actually were standing out in the cold because they wanted to see you. And you had like 3 people cheering out of supposedly millions of people that participated in this. No one wanted to hear you talk. Okay. But apparently, if you just drone on long enough and you just say the word revolution enough times, eventually you're going to stoke the flames. See, the problem is that what they do is that they give these long-winded speeches and they say words like rebellion and revolution, and they say these words over and over and over and over again. What it's doing is it's priming you, it's conditioning you, okay? And this is your now this is obviously like the slower, more slow-boiled, building you up with diesel fuel, okay? This is not somebody who's getting people hyped up into a frenzy anytime soon. This is more comical than anything, but eventually you will find yourself saying crazy things like this, like what she just said. I cannot even repeat, even though I already played it. I cannot repeat what she just said, or I'm going to have suits knocking on my door saying, hey, what'd you mean by that? Because somebody's going to completely rip it out of context. And they don't worry about it. They don't care. These celebrities, they just say the same thing over and over again. They just repeat this rhetoric over and over and over again. This is completely on purpose. And Madonna is one of the worst ones. She has got some of the most blasphemous stuff that she's ever done on stage. The fact that anybody would listen to her is kind of scary. And I don't just mean listen to her music. I mean, like, listen to what she actually is saying right here. Don't listen to these celebrities. They're going to get you in trouble. Because at the end of the day, if anybody does anything and they take what they say and they take the ball and they run with it, they go, oh, I was just talking. I'm not the one who actually had the gun in my hand. I'm not the one who actually had the knife in my hand. I'm not the one who actually took my car and turned it into a weapon. I didn't do that, There's nothing criminally wrong with what I said, even though they know what they're doing, because they know out of all the millions and millions and millions of people and millions and millions and millions of fans that they supposedly have, one person is crazy enough to pull one of these acts where they try to shoot a cop, where they try to run over a cop, where they try to do, stab a cop. All they have to do is just keep saying it over and over and over again. And it's all a numbers game. They know at the end of the day, someone's going to break bad. Dangerous. Don't listen to these people. Do not listen to these celebrities. They're going to get you in trouble. And of course, constant and continuous news propaganda. And here's the kicker. Pornography-driven dopamine dysregulation. Basically, it's lower impulse control. You see, the way this works is that the nervous system is trained daily. Exposure is repetition, and repetition It becomes conditioning. You see, it didn't start with a fire. It started with a feed. See, a guy thinks that he's staying informed, but really what he's doing is he's marinating in gasoline. That is infestation. Now we're in stage 2. Oppression. And here's the spiritual warning. Ephesians 4:25 through 27. And therefore, laying aside all falsehood, speak truth, each one of you with his neighbor. Be angry, and yet do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and do not give the devil an opportunity. Some variations, it says a foothold or a stronghold. And in 2 Corinthians 10:3 and 4, for though we walk in the flesh, we are not warring according to the flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but are divine in power in pulling down of strongholds. You see, a stronghold is a fortified belief that is resistant to correction. You see, psychologically, what you're doing here is you're ruminating. The APA Dictionary of Psychology definition of rumination is repetitive focus on distress and its causes. You're becoming a worry ward, an advanced worry ward. You're also solidifying your confirmation bias. So essentially, you're intentionally and eventually you are automatically seeking the information that validates your already pre-existing beliefs. Now is where the mind filters reality. Physically, you're elevating your baseline cortisol. Your sleep is definitely disrupted. The efficiency of your prefrontal cortex is eroding. Your reasoning weakens and your reactivity strengthens. So pragmatically, how is this happening? Well, constant group chat and outrage loops, ideological professors framing grievance as identity, podcasts reinforcing one-sided narratives, activist social circles, echo chambers. No opposing data is allowed. You show them facts and they'll show you hashtags. You see, they're not thinking anymore. They're defending territory. Now we've hit stage 3. Obsession. This is the fusion of identity and ideology. Romans 1:18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. You suppress it. It is a choice. You push it down. Romans 1:25, they exchange the truth of God for a lie. You see, at this point, the cause just becomes ultimate. And you surrender. Just not to God. Mentally, your identity is fusing. The APA Dictionary definition of identity fusion. You have a visceral sense of oneness with the group. Remember this guy?
Tifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up, okay?
By the way, whoever tried to edit that, yeah, you actually have to splice that individual word when they cuss. Splice it, mute it, and then you put the beep where it is. You tried.
Go watch my other videos. Doesn't matter if you're not here and you're not caught up. You've missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet. Show up, ready to go. Okay? Not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations.
Guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is 100% deliberate. This is on purpose. Okay? This is specific language. I'm not just saying it. They say so even themselves. That there's no room left for political discourse. There's no peaceful protesting. There's no reasonable conversation to be had here. Do you think that there's reasonable conversation to be had with this guy?
anymore. I am talking specifically to my fucking followers. This is everything I have fucking talked about, and this is exactly what I said was gonna happen. This is exactly what I said was gonna fucking come when we didn't fucking go and march on fucking Whipple with guns.
Do I need to say anything?
Sorry, but welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you fucking protected from literal fucking Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people in the street with...
Again, this is also one of those things where I was saying, it's not to get too sidetracked here, but it's hilarious. These people that hated guns, now all of a sudden they're all about guns. Now all of a sudden they're like, about America, right? Anyway, side note. There's more to this. There's a lot more to this. He's speaking about Renee Good, Alex Pretty, okay? There's definitely more to the story. Definitely more to the story. And that's the whole reason why I waited. Everybody, as soon as they saw those first two videos, the first thing they started doing was hitting the share button, getting on TikTok, and then making emotional outrage videos. There's always more to the story. And at this point, he knew that there was more to the story. But it doesn't matter. It's like I said, at this point, nothing matters. Do you hear me? Nothing matters. The only thing that matters right here is the narrative. And it doesn't matter if it's a lie. It doesn't even matter if they know it's a lie.
Did you hear what I said?
They're not listening at this point. They're defending territory. I mean, look at how this dude's dressed. He's wearing a flak jacket. Now, granted, he ain't got nothing in it, and he ain't got no sappies, he ain't got no mag carriers, ain't got nothing in it. The guy's a dork, and he's just trying to look tough in front of a camera. But look at how this guy's dressed. You think this is for no reason? This is deliberate.
Impunity. This is not a fucking joke. There's nothing.
Whoever's editing this, dude, you got to learn how to censor. Like you're trying, like either learn how to do it or don't do it.
Nothing fun to chant about it. Get your fucking guns and stop these fucking people.
The worst editor ever. Okay. Now, this isn't completely off the bandwagon, okay? But I'm just going to show you who else this guy is. And you tell me if you think that this guy is mentally healthy. If you think that this is a healthy individual. This is our guy. Same guy, by the way.
I do this all year, all the time. I'm out and about like this because I do it for me all year. All the time, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm a fucking blue collar fuck. I'm a dude all day long. And then at least a few times every week, I like to get real clean and pretty.
Good times, noodle salad.
Just likes to get clean and pretty.
And go out, shoot pool, or get dinner, maybe go dance. You never fucking know, right? But I don't need a fucking parade to celebrate. I don't need to be groped and harassed and catcalled and treated like a piece of meat by a bunch of fucking cis women.
I don't think anybody's doing that. Like I'm you're capping. I'm calling you. Ain't nobody doing that.
Who fucking give me side eyes in public when I do this the rest of the fucking year. Who,
you know, the funny thing about people like this, and I don't even mean like the gay thing, I don't even mean the cross-dressing thing. I mean like the people that like get tatted up from like head to toe. The funny thing about these guys is that they get all these now granted, I got tattoos. Okay, look. I got tattoos. Okay, I was in the military, I got tattoos. It's not the tattoos, okay? It's the, I'm going to tattoo my face. I'm going to tattoo all this crazy stuff on my throat. I'm going to get Antifa tattooed on my throat. You know, I'm going to try to look like a Viking warrior type, you know, like, what's his name? Skarsgård's got these tattoos on his face, like Viking tattoos on his face. Okay. This guy obviously wants to be seen. These people that, like, they look like somebody smacked him in the face with Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? Like literally forehead down to their tippy toes, just ink all the way down. And they're like, hey, why are you looking at me? Why are you giving me side eyes? I couldn't imagine. You mean to tell me you don't want people looking at you? Come on, give me a break.
You ain't special.
You're not special. Your brain is giving way to moral disengagement. What is moral disengagement? It's defined as cognitive reframing that allows unethical conduct without guilt. It doesn't matter if you burn cop cars if you don't feel bad. It doesn't matter if you smash businesses. If you don't feel bad, none of it matters. So why not? And when you're this entrenched to this type of a destructive cause, well, now violence becomes necessary and destruction becomes symbolic. And physically, whenever you are an active participant, your arousal is synchronizing with the collective. Instead of a hive mind, think of like a hive body. The entire group becomes one working nervous system. And at this point, the reward drug dopamine surges. You also get a steady drip of the love drug oxytocin through group bonding. Your adrenaline spikes. The chanting becomes organic, rhythmic, like an unseen entity that is actively breathing. Confrontations with the police. They're getting adrenaline spikes from this. This is intoxication. Listen to the beat. Boom, 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 boom. You hear it? That is not on accident. That is deliberate. This is hypnosis. You are hypnotizing people into frenzy. You get drunk off of this chemical cocktail. You see, at this point, being bad doesn't just feel good, it feels electric. And understand that all of this is incubated and all of this is marinated in a worldview where feelings overpower facts, where the truth is completely suggestive, and it's whatever you want it to be. The problem here is that you equate what feels good with what actually is good. And at this point, facts and logic, they've left the building.
I am going to spend the next minute screaming.
Please don't.
Because that is what is going on in here.
Actually, I 100% believe her. Or is that yeah, that's a woman. I think that's a woman.
That is what the trans genocide in this country,
well, I don't know now,
in this city, has brought me to. I hate a lot of people on this board for the reasons that led up to Banko Brown's death. There's a lot of performative people on this board who will say one thing in support of black people, homeless people, trans people, and then immediately stab you in the face, being racist, transphobic, anti-homeless. So I don't have any words prepared today. I just want you to feel our pain. I don't know if you can at this point based off your policy choices, but I have to pretend you have some form of empathy left. So I am going to spend...
Yeah, why are you in a mask? Why are you in a mask? Dude, COVID's been over for like 6 years.
And the next minute screaming, because that is what is going on in here. That is what the trans genocide in this country.
Why is it always them? The T's. Okay.
In this city has brought me to.
You get the point? What's up?
Children don't need nightmares or whatever you're thinking.
It's not a demon, it's a trans.
Could you not?
I'm leaving this in here.
Don't do that.
I'm leaving. I'm not cutting you out.
I mean,
Imagine that!
Okay. I can't show this anymore for obvious reasons because my kids have to go to bed. But you get the idea. Does this seem normal to you? The crowd becomes a blind and deaf nervous system. Not seeing, not hearing, just feeling and reacting. And at this point, you have cleared the path for hedonistic autopilot. And this can be achieved through the following: escalation of protest culture, group chanting, masked black bloc anonymity, celebration of chaos, glorification of destruction. The burn it all down rhetoric is normalized, and social validation overrides your conscience. You see, at this point, the mask isn't hiding them. To them, it's liberating them. And they feel 10 feet tall. And they should. Because the mob is holding them up. I don't know, guys. What stage do you think she's at?
I guess my next move is to get in front of a fucking camera with a goddamn microphone and do the last thing on this planet that I want to do! I don't want to be a fucking politician! I hate them! But you made me do it! I guess.
Okay.
Really special!
But it's kind of like what Grandma always said. What goes up always comes back down. And then we reach the basement. Underneath rock bottom. We've officially hit stage 4. Possession. This is the complete and total loss of control and restraint. This is behavioral takeover. This is captivity to sin. Present tense. Essentially, you're booted out of the driver's seat. Romans 6:16. Do you not know that whom you present yourselves slaves to obey, either of sin resulting in death or in obedience resulting in righteousness? Now mentally, now we have slidden all the way down to de-individuation and disassociation. De-individuation, reduced self-awareness, and diminished concern for social evaluation in group settings. You just don't care. And disassociation, disruption and integration of identity or perception. Understand that this is clinically consistent language. I don't know what came over me.
Shoot us in the face!
Okay. Demons only want 3 things: to steal, to kill, and destroy. Now listen to this.
Shoot me in the head! Why don't you shoot me in the head?
Does this sound normal?
You cowards! You're cowards!
I would venture to say that this person is past obsession. I think he's right here. I think he means what he says. I again, now, this could just be bravado. This could just be faux machismo. It could be. Or he could be serious. Everything that this kid has been conditioned to believe, his entire worldview, everything. He firmly believes that America is under occupation by Nazis. And in their terms, literal Nazis. This is what they believe. And I would say, I think he honestly believes what he's saying. And that's the scary part.
In the face! Shoot me in the head! Why don't you shoot me in the head?
Probably really stressed out. Probably nonstop outrage algorithms. Probably watching these one-sided leftist podcasts. Probably has a group of friends that just create an echo chamber and say this stuff 24/7. This doesn't look like he's being paid to be here. This looks like he actually believes what he's saying. This would be immediate Baker Act criteria. Immediately, this dude would be stuffed and cuffed and thrown in the back of the cop car and taken to the loony bin. Immediately. Because you can't take the chance. You can't take the chance whenever they're saying stuff like this. Because people that are suicidal are often homicidal.
You coward! You're cowards! I'm right here! Kill me!
That's a demon. That's a demon. He means what he says. Also probably on SSRIs. And at this point, anyone even slightly questioning the narrative becomes a mortal enemy. And at this point, there are no rules, there are no boundaries, there is nothing off the table. And in fact, you don't even matter. You don't. The only thing that matters is the narrative, even if it is a complete lie. And unfortunately, this is the psychosis that justifies, at least in their mind, justifies suicidal activism.
New footage has emerged of Alex Pretty, filmed 11 days before he was fatally shot by Border Patrol officers in Minneapolis on January 24th. In the footage, filmed on January 13th, Pretty is seen here, shouting expletives and spitting at a federal immigration agent's car during a protest. He then kicks the agent's vehicle, breaking a tail light. The agents exit their vehicle and a scuffle takes place. Pretty, on the ground, loses his coat.
By the way, he had a gun when he did this.
When he gets back up, what appears to be a handgun is visible in his waistband. At no point do the videos show Pretty reaching for the gun, and it is unclear whether the federal agents saw it.
Not safe. Not safe. Hey, I already did a video on that. Is it safe? No. Is it legal? Is it wise? If you haven't seen it, it's called Good Idea, Bad Idea. Go back and watch.
Agents then deploy smoke canisters and drive away. In another video, a bystander can be seen checking if Pretty is okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different story seeing it, in its full context whenever you're seeing, because we were originally just told that this guy is just, he's just a well-to-do ER nurse on his way to work at the VA. And, he just saw this old lady getting beat up by an ICE agent and, he went over to jump in. And that wasn't the full story.
I'm not mad, boy. Show your face. I'm not mad. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car. Whoa!
Did not have to be that way. Like I said in my previous episodes, you thinking about doing stuff like that? I got a better idea. Stay home. Watch Stranger Things. That would be a way better idea than this. And unfortunately, this gentleman here is no longer here because of it. Now we can point fingers this way, that way. We can blame the ICE agents. We can blame this. We can blame that. Okay. But there were a million exit ramps before we got to this point. There were 4 stages. Each one of those main junctures, there were several exit ramps per stage before we got to this point.
Honestly.
Still fighting with the cops when he has a gun. Did not have to be this way. But once you've hit this point, it's like I've said before, there's no rational conversation to be had here. This is dangerous. This is extremely dangerous. And this has life and death consequences. And as we know as Christians, eternal consequences. And the final mechanism, nighttime crowd anonymity. Alcohol and drug amplification, police confrontation, and its obvious adrenaline spikes, live stream validation, and even online praise. The bottle leaves the hand, the cruiser ignites, and the crowd roars. And neural reinforcement locks it in. You know, I'd venture to say that many of these people, they don't wake up planning arson. But when the glass shatters and the crowd cheers, something inside them tells them to keep going. And they listen. This is it right here. This is Sparagmos. Their amygdala is completely overridden. Their inner policeman in their mind is completely overridden. Their emotions are a 2,000-pound gorilla, and their inner cop, their inner policeman in their brain, he is bound. He is bound and gagged and stuffed in a trash can, folded up like a pretzel. This is crowd frenzy. What you're seeing right here, this is crowd frenzy. They're getting high off of this. Break it all down. Burn it all down. This is demonic autopilot. This is demonic possession. And this is the point where they would have said, the God has entered her. So this next lady right here is the 18-year-old trans shooter that shot up the school in Canada First name's Jesse. Last name, I can't pronounce it. I'm not even going to try. I don't know. I'm just going to butcher it. Again, trans. On SSRIs. Very much into feminist rage. Yeah. Killed 10 kids. All of a sudden, it's not a gun issue because it's Canada. Now, take a look at this lady. Does it seem like there's something wrong with her? This is not normal. I don't care how I don't care how much the mainstream media tries to normalize this stuff. And I'm not even just talking about the trans stuff. It's all the same. All of it. It's this giant ball that is antichrist. All of it. All of this is antichrist. Does this look normal? I'm going to go ahead and call a spade a spade. She is possessed. She is past sparagmos. At this point, it is very evident the God has entered her. All right, that's enough of that. It's sick. It's sick. Demons only exist to steal, kill, and destroy. And that is exactly what this young woman did. She stole kids' lives. She killed them. And she destroyed their families forever. And this is her. If you could call it that. Sick. It's absolutely sick. I don't know. I called her female. I don't know what they are, what she is. Your amygdala is dominated. And like I said, think of your amygdala as like your body, your brain's internal policeman. Okay? And he's the one that tells you when there's danger. He's the one that tells you not to do certain things when you're going to get in trouble. And at this point, he is completely overtaken. He's bound and gagged and stuffed in a trash can like the band geek from high school. Because at this point, your emotions are like a 2,000-pound gorilla. Your amygdala, your inner policeman, doesn't stand a chance. At this point, critical thinking is non-existent, and rationality is not just dead, it is decomposing. Because like I said earlier, truth, lies, it doesn't matter. At this point, you just don't care. The only thing that matters at this point is the narrative. See what happened there? That man is clearly possessed. Crazy. You know, he lost an eye. He did. The guy stabbed him in the eyeball. Lost an eye. And we all know how frustrating it is. I know people like this. I'm sure you know people like this. I have good friends. One time they were good friends that have completely dove off the deep end. Their brain is applesauce. And this is the type of stuff that they spout. And, you know, whenever it reaches this point, there's no longer any polite political discourse to be had. You know, there's no reasonable, rational conversation to be had whenever people have reached this type and this stage of mentality. When their brain is so far corroded that this not only seems justified to them, but it's praised. There's no longer, you're not talking to that person anymore. And sadly, I think many people are already at this level. This is why a polite discourse is nearly impossible. You just can't talk to people like this. You can't reason with people like this. And sadly, Charlie Kirk is evidence of that. Now, this one's going to hurt, but this is exactly what I was talking about. Once somebody has progressed to the fourth stage, once they are possessed, once the God has entered her, there's only one person that can break that spell, and that is Jesus Christ. And most often, they want nothing to do with him. So we have to pray for people before they reach that point. And even after they reach that point, that God would deliver them. And like I said in many of the examples that I've given earlier, if someone is suicidal, they're oftentimes homicidal. And once they have reached that point, once they have reached stage 4, there's no longer any polite discussion to be had. And Charlie Kirk is evidence of that. If you're squeamish, don't watch.
So do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm going to give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Do you see why this is so important? Do you see why the gospel is so important? Do you see why speaking up and speaking out and speaking truth to power, actual truth, John 14:6, to actual power, that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and no man comes to the Father except through him, period. Do you understand why John 3:16 is so important? This is why. This is what we're up against. This is Ephesians 6:12. This is exactly what you're watching. This is the spiritual enacting the physical. These are powers and principalities that are at work in heavenly places against us. And this is very real. These aren't just metaphorical concepts. And this is so much more important than life and death. This stuff has eternal consequences. So what do? We pray. We have to pray for these people. Because whether this is possession or this is mental illness, whether this, whether this is Dionysus, the god of the riot, or not, they are all no match for the God of the universe. I believe that we are going to use this information and we are going to look back on it in a few years, because I don't think that this is the last of what we've seen as far as these riots. Now, these might calm down here in 2026, and it's great if this is when you're watching it. But I want this to serve as a staple mark. I want this to be a reference point that we can all come back to, and that you can watch and go, I remember that. This is what's going on here. Again, this is a theory. All I'm saying is that it's possible. I believe that there is more at work here than politics. I believe Ephesians 6:12. I believe that there are powers, that there are principalities, and that there are, spiritual hosts of wickedness in high places. I believe that. But we're not going to be able to vote this problem out. We have to pray. We have to pray. Remember, the prayers of a righteous man avail as much. But listen, if you like the show, please do me a favor. Go ahead and consider subscribing. All right? Subscribe to the podcast. Go and find me on TikTok. That's official BKBC. All right? I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X. All right? YouTube, Rumble, all audio platforms. All right? And so, like, comment, share, subscribe. All right? Hit the notification bell so anytime I drop a video, you never miss one. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.